With just 3 days until Trump's presidency, the stakes couldn't be higher right now, especially when it comes to the government's efficiency in the US, the Department of Government Efficiency. That's what I want to highlight in this video. There's a giant tax gap in America's tax collection. In 2022, it was recorded that $696 billion wasn't collected by the IRS. That means people have either not reported their earnings, they haven't filed, or they're just getting away with tax evasion. That's a lot of fucking money that's not going into the American tax system and not being used by the government. Nutsack wants to be in the video. You stand there. It's also estimated that 16.1 billion was spent on the IRS in 2023. All in, that's over 700 billion. So that's a lot of money. What Elon is very good at is saving money and creating very good processes for efficiency. Now, he has mentioned before, and I've mentioned this in a couple of other videos, he once joked about Dogecoin being the world currency. He said the funny thing about Doge is it was created as a joke to take the piss out of other cryptos, and he went, the irony would be if Dogecoin became the world currency. Do I think it could become the world currency? Probably not, but is there still a chance? Possibly. It doesn't necessarily have to be Dogecoin. Some form of crypto is definitely going to end up being definitely the US currency, and then probably moving on to the world currency. Might we have different cryptocurrencies for different areas in the world or different countries in the world? Yes, probably. Just like we have different fiat currencies now. What I want to get to in this video is the process of collecting tax. If we use something like Dogecoin, for example, to collect all of the tax data, because the beauty about crypto is that it's all on a publicly viewed ledger. Anyone can see transactions from any crypto. The government could link our wallet in order to trace every transaction we make. Some of you might say that's an invasion of our privacy. I say there's a 700 billion black hole in your tax. I sound like Keir Starmer right now with saying black hole, but there's a $700 billion missing tax payment. What's the alternative? What's the cost of not having your transactions traced? It costs $16.1 billion a year, or did in 2023, for the IRS to try and collect some of this tax. If we use Dogecoin and the government was able to reduce the transaction fees, which they could quite easily do, they could either partner with existing exchanges or they could create a special government wallet where they could use Dogecoin or a different type of crypto in order to pay tax payments. They could cover the fees themselves, which would reduce the cost for taxpayers, but also it would reduce the cost for them massively. It's estimated if we was to do that through Dogecoin with lowered fees, it would cost us anywhere between 500 million to 2 billion. Now, just alone from that 16.1 billion, that's a huge drop. That's over a 14 billion drop in cost to the IRS to collect our tax. But not only that, if we were able to use that method, there would be no tax evasion, there would be no not filing your taxes. It would all be done automatically through this government site or through these exchanges, because everything would be worked out perfectly to your wallet. There'd be no more of this working out your own tax. Accountants, they wouldn't go obsolete, but there would be a lot less use for them because everything would be done via AI. You'd only need accountants to double check, so you wouldn't need as many accountants. So that would be a massive cost cut for them. Everything could be done via AI online, and it would be a huge cost saving. And they would also rekindle this 696 billion missing tax payment that has just been ignored for so long. Now, Dogecoin itself, I know what some people will say is, how are you going to use Dogecoin as a real currency when it's so volatile? I see where you're coming from. I'm not saying that they're going to use Dogecoin. I'm just saying that eventually there is going to be a currency that is a crypto, similar to maybe Tether, something that is a stable coin that they can use then as a fully traced method of collecting taxes from whoever, which businesses, which person. No one would be able to escape from it. So the 700 billion missing tax payment wouldn't be there anymore. It would be going into the American system. The same with other governments. So I've just looked it up now. In the UK, the estimated tax gap between 2022 and 2023 was nearly 40 billion. That's 40 billion of missed tax that hasn't been paid into the system. Keir Starmer's on about this 22 billion black hole. Well, here's an idea. I've got an idea for you to fix it. Switch to crypto. You can rekindle 22 billion of that and have 18 billion left to play with to help with the NHS. Simple. There you go. I've solved the 22 billion pound black hole that supposedly exists. Just switch to a crypto. Save yourself shitloads of money in tax collection and actually collect all the taxes that are due. Other things that are likely to be done by Elon. He's going to go into that role as the head of the Department of Government Efficiency, and he is going to take absolutely no prisoners. There's going to be massive redundancies throughout the US government. Yeah, they have to pay them severance, and I'm pretty sure it's a couple of years long. So they won't be cost cutting straight away in terms of making redundancies. But after those few years of severance have been paid out, they will see a massive difference in terms of wages in the government as well. He can go in there, and I can tell you right now, half of the jobs that are out, not just in the government in the US or the government in any government in the UK or anything like that, half of the jobs that are office based on a computer can be replaced by AI. Honestly, if you've got a job like that, I would watch yourself for the next 10 years, because we are going to see an absolutely ginormous shift in the workforce because of AI. Things are going to get replaced very quickly without much warning. If you're in the firing line of that, you better start looking at other things you can do, because there's no stopping businesses from saving money. If they can save money by replacing your job with an AI program on a computer, they fucking will, because it will cost them way less. If they can pay £40-50 a month for a program that will replace 5 different staff members, do you think they won't? They absolutely will. Realistically, when AI starts to come fully into these jobs, integration will happen first, then replacement. They'll start to realise that they don't need the same amount of staff they had before AI as they do with AI. They still need staff, because we still need people to double check and make sure that this work is being done correctly by this AI. Do we need as many staff? Absolutely fucking not. This is going to happen worldwide. It's not just the US government. The next 10 to 20 years are going to be, and I would say possibly even shorter term than that, maybe even the next 5 years, we're going to see a gigantic shift in the workforce because of AI. Manual labour jobs are less likely to be hit sooner, because you can't pay £50 a month on a computer to replace a manual labour job. That's not how it works. You'd need all of the research and development on an animatronic robot that could learn from workers and completely replicate their jobs, but them units would not cost £50 a month. They would cost tens to hundreds of thousands of pounds or dollars per unit. Companies that want to invest in those would have to take the risk and invest in those, and if they don't work out, they've wasted their money. That's why I think it will take longer for manual labour jobs to get replaced, because we would need companies with more capital to burn to take the risk initially to prove that these animatronic robots that learn via AI work, in order for companies with smaller amounts of capital to invest to join the bandwagon. And even then, these types of robots, look at the Optimus robot by Elon Musk. It's not fully developed yet. It's not fully there. We couldn't just whack that in a workplace and it would crack on. There's certain things it can do, absolutely, but it's nowhere near where the technology is going to get to within the next 5 to 10 years. So it's not just office jobs, but every single job in the world is at risk to AI within the next few decades. Office jobs much sooner. You know, I may be fully wrong on this, but I'm predicting that many jobs, and they already are getting replaced, but many jobs very soon are going to start being replaced by AI. But this isn't a scare tactic to try and get everyone fearful of AI. AI is very useful. Use it to your advantage. Don't be frightened of new technology. Start to move with it. Start to use it to advance your careers or to advance businesses. It's now, and people say this every single year because new technology is created. Now is one of the easiest times to get online, start a business, start getting content out. It's one of the easiest times to do anything online, to make an income, because of AI. And AI can streamline pretty much any fucking task you want. Yes, it requires some form of investment for a lot of programs. A lot of them offer free trials and stuff like that, where you can sort of test and trial to see if this would help streamline whatever task you're trying to do. I think that's it. I don't know what else to say. I think I've done a long enough video. This is my other cat, Rosteroni. She's much smaller than Nutsack, because Nutsack is a fat cunt.